that the hook brings you back.
I really hate these foes in the jogging outfits. They actually gave me a lot of trouble. Like, most of the foes in this game, you're like, oh, they're not that hard. But those guys, I never got the hang of them. I always messed them up. And that's probably just me sucking at the game. But they they were more dangerous to me. It was always so weird. I'm always, you know, you kind of use a boss as your baseline of, because this is the game in hard mode. This is what the game expects to be hard. And then you just, like, completely pancake a boss, and you're like, oh, I must be pretty good at this game. And then you meet some pissant mook, and he absolutely kicks your ass, and you're like, what? Am I bad at the game, or good, or what's going on here?
There's a comment I wanted to make the last episode that I sort of missed my window on, but I didn't want to get back to it. That part where Josh steps on the bear trap because he thinks it's a manuscript page.
Oh,
the only time I ever stepped on a bear trap was in a similar situation. Very first time I see one, I see this bear trap, and I remember that Rusty had mentioned these earlier, and it's glowing. And obviously it doesn't make much sense for a bear trap to glow.
You can't charge me when I've got my super focused flashlight. Oh, I can't wait till I get the flashlight upgrade.
Make much sense for a bear trap to glow naturally. So I assume, oh, the game is indicating to me that this bear trap is some kind of plot item, so I should go up and examine it. And I try, and I like edge closer, and I edge closer, and I get like 3 or 4 inches away, and then Alan just like plants his foot into it.
Yes.
So this is a great example.
Don't worry,
of
I got this guy.
About. What about what I was complaining about in the first episode, or the first week? The walking through the woods, killing things parts that have nothing to do with the plot just feel like a chore.
Yeah.
This is work. Yeah. This is not fun.
And it gets really bad. Like, this is not the half of it.
It's not a terrible combat system, but it's a okay combat system marred by the fact that none of this has anything to do with moving the plot forward.
Right. Dragon Age!
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dragon Age even had, like, side missions that, you know, well, at least made some of the,
clarifying stuff. Deep roads.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
I'm not going to defend the deep roads.
Deep roads is our go-to word for any time a game just like, here's 5 hours of combat, knock yourself out.
No, like, you mean 12.
It's also the answer to the question, why didn't we ever do Dragon Age Origins as a spoiler warning?
There's no way. Even heavily edited, that would just be the forever season. Like, I don't want to even have to imagine what I would have to do to come up with enough commentary to fill all those hours of nothing but killing friggin' Darkspawn. Here, this is your Dragon Age. This is your Dragon Age Origins series right here. Darkspawn for the whole thing. There's not even a big variety of Darkspawn. It's just the same enemies, same fights over and over for hours and hours. Okay, done.
I was sick to death of playing it. I can't even imagine watching it.
Yeah, watching it and commenting on just basically the same stuff over and over. Just, what the heck?
Okay, so, rock climbing.
Yes.
Rock climbing. Somebody please tell the director about condensation of time through editing.
Okay, another generator minigame. You know, the trick to those is you just do them after all the enemies are dead, and then, like, it's never a problem.
Yeah.
But it is tense. It is tense if you can.
I love coffee.
It's like if you can get there and get the timing just right, you can skip the fight. Which maybe that's not the best incentive. Is if you're good at the game, you won't have to play so much of it. But maybe they're not setting the incentives the right way.
I guess.
We're foreshadowing an anticlimax of a boss.
That's when I heard the chainsaw.
Yes.
And like the big guys are better bosses than any of the bosses in this game. Like the big guys that spawn and take like a whole revolver magazine to.
Yeah, those guys suck because they eat up ammo.
But, you know, 6 bullets. Got a hunting rifle. but I'm gonna use my revolver for now.
So when I heard that, I was picturing like a mancubus from Doom with chainsaws for arms, and it's like a lumberjack is the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
It's just sort of.
Yeah, and you know that's a great example of your imagination being able to provide better scares than your eyes. And I did the same thing when he was like a chainsaw. I'm like, whoa, I'm gonna see something freaked up. Like, it'll have a chainsaw for a face, man. And then you get there and it's just like some dude with a chainsaw, and you shoot him and he dies, and then you move on. And I'm
Hey,
like,
Josh
oh, man.
just discovered the wasting your time playland.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
one like thing you can
Best.
get here where you can run down that wing and you can jump onto a rock and you can get some flares or something.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah, and you can also like rock this plane back and forth for no reason. And there's a lot of dark spots on the plane that you can hose off with your flashlight and they go away. And I don't think that does anything.
It doesn't. There's no point. Yeah, fall damage.
And this is
I'm
a dead
best.
end too, so all in all, lost about half an hour to this area.
Like-
Kind of pissed about it.
Is it a reference? To
Yeah, that
Lost?
plane is it? I don't know.
I don't care.
It's kind of supposed to show that like Alan Wake is just putting random shit in his story. But it
And then I
doesn't
found an
say-
airplane, and it was cool.
exactly.
He even says, "Oh, I found it to be really spooky," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you didn't convince me that it was spooky, dummy."
Well, I guess like if you're just saying I found it spooky, and if you're telling not showing, that's a bad technique, and that's bad storytelling. Okay, so again, bad storytelling. We get it. Alan Wake is a bad
Yeah,
storyteller,
great.
and because of that, Alan Wake uses bad storytelling. Thank you.
Great, good job. You guys have correctly made an authentically awful author who's a chore to listen to. Is that really the right choice to make for a video game where you're going to be spending a lot of time hearing him talk? It's like, we're going to make a video game where the main character will be like this really boring person you don't care about.
I still
Okay,
like
we've
the
been
idea
angry
that
for a
maybe the
while.
game. I still like the idea
Yeah,
that
that's
maybe
right,
the game is
fuck you
implying he's
guys.
an awful author.
Sorry, I had to yell at the annoying
Yeah.
take, and they were
Yeah,
trying to
we've
kill
been
me.
pretty negative this week. So maybe I should say
That's
that
because
like
this is
I
not
am
the best
warming
part
a
of the game.
No, this is
Yeah.
this is not one of the better parts of the game. So if we're
Well, you
being
kn-
overwhelmingly negative, it'll probably get better.
Well, you notice our commentary, like the tone of our commentary, improves the more we're doing, talking to real people, adventure game, moving the plot forward, and the more combat we do, the more negative we are. And I think that says
Oh,
more
don't-
about the game than
don't
our
fucking
commentary.
knock me into the-
Oh man, you just risked your life for that thermos. Love your coffee, man.
Fuck you and your knife.
Honestly, having played Walking Dead, the Telltale game
Yeah.
this weekend, I
It's
think
awesome.
if they could introduce some of those concepts into something like this, it would have been fantastic.
Oh, what did I just
Yes.
get killed by?
Oh, you mean the
I just
concept
fell
of like
over.
excellent writing? Yes, if they had had excellent writing, that definitely would have helped.
I
Really,
still
The
think the
Walking
writing
Dead has
might be
great
intentionally awful, but the decision making, having to choose who lives and who dies, or
Yes.
having to interact with a character and say I like you or I don't like you, and how that has ramifications. Instead, you're playing Alan Wake and the script he wrote outside of your ability, and you're fulfilling the script the same way every other character is in a weird sense. You could look at this as sort of like a meta commentary on games.
Right.
It could be a companion piece to BioShock, where you're literally fulfilling the thing you wrote down. Except you didn't write it down, the designers did.
But you didn't write down what you were doing in BioShock either.
No, but you were doing what the designers said ahead of you, and it's the whole would you kindly future thing. Spoilers, by the way.
We already did that season.
Well, we already did that. Nobody cared.
There's a statute of limitations on those things anyway.
Yeah, really, if you haven't played BioShock, you probably don't care enough to play it now. Or maybe you're just a poor person and I'm a
You know,
terrible person for
that's
saying
never true. That's really never true. So
Yeah,
I
that's-
So here's an
avoid,
idea.
like the whole
Yeah.
statute of limitations argument for video games. Continue.
Here's an idea. You guys are bored with combat? Let's put crappy platforming and puzzles in for no reason.
Yeah, with this terrible
I thought-
camera. Oh Jesus.
I thought this was really
Oh.
goofy. I had the same problem. It's like,
That looked pretty hilarious.
Oh,
My black spot. Oh yeah.
I came in here and I'm like,
Flashlights, the newest
I-
type of
I
cleaning
came in
detergent.
here and I saw the gap, and I'm like, man, it almost looks like you have to jump across, but they wouldn't put platforming in this kind of game. And I walked around and I realized, holy crap, they really do expect me to just jump over that with this wonky jump system. And I made
Alan,
it, but I
would you
didn't
look
feel
at
like-
this place? It looks like a mess. Could you hose off the deck for me?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see when we get a Clorox flashlight as in-game advertising.
Actually, I think this is another thing that Rutskarn wanted us to point out. The whole, I'm pretty sure this was an open world mechanic where you could purify an area or kill the darkness in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense because as it is, it hurts to walk on, I assume.
Hell, it's always weird.
Wait, does it?
It does.
Okay,
Yeah, it does.
so it hurts to walk on, but in cases like with the plane, that doesn't matter. Was the plane supposed to be a really clumsy way of introducing that mechanic? Because it really didn't need introduction. The stuff sizzles when your flashlight falls on it. I learned it just as quickly, like, on the plane as I would have learned it here.
My best defense for the plane is that maybe it's a reference to Lost, because that's kind of almost a suspense-y thing. Other than that, I have no defense for the plane.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and that
But
is
no.
kind of this game's thing. It's like, here's a reference to a thing that you may have watched. I have to admit, I don't think he said the word lost while he was talking about the plane, so maybe they used some restraint on that one.
The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed.
yeah, I mean
Like the channel
the
had been switched.
creepy crashed plane in the jungle is not. It is
When the
a
birds started attacking
a
the
trope
cabin,
that goes back
Barry
way
wasn't
further than
surprised,
Lost.
just
So I don't know.
terrified.
Maybe they're referencing something that none of us watched.
Langoliers has a crash. Well, it's not crash, but Langoliers has a plane.
Yeah, it just doesn't ever crash. So, by the way, that thing it said, like, you think you're watching a sitcom when you're really watching a horror show, I will admit that's my personal favorite kind of horror. Is just like the sudden tonal dissonance. When you're watching something that you're convinced is wholesome and then all of a sudden it's freaky for no reason.
I love that because I think that's the exact opposite of what this is. I think it lets you think you're watching a horror, and it's watching sort of this
Yeah.
campy homage to horror.
Yeah, and that really doesn't work.
The darkness wears her face. Could you be any more cryptic with your useless fluorescent yellow warnings?
Who's
The
writing
absence
this?
of
And he
light
has really
covers
good
her
handwriting.
visage. The person who wrote that, I don't think would have very good handwriting, ironically.
Yeah. Yeah, it reveals who wrote those, and it's an actual person, so this actually,
Is it the
implies
white
that
lady?
someone is running around and going to all these weird-ass places and putting these things in, and nobody
So-
cares, nobody finds
Wait,
them.
I gotta ask, is that the light lady?
No, Rudscar, no, that's ridiculous.
There's a page behind you, unless you grabbed it.
Oh, there is? Where?
In that building there. You actually went into the building, never mind. I grabbed it through the rafters. I actually didn't go in. Well, no, you can't go in
Oh.
there. Yeah, you have to...
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Okay,
go
there we go.
around. Yeah, okay.
Shadows stirred and the wind picked up as I ran through the forest. I felt the dark presence turning its gaze toward me. Then the moonlight was blotted out by dark shadows that raced violently across the ground,
Man.
moving too swiftly.
Okay, now we're finally getting to
That
chainsaw
gathered
face
between
man
the
head.
trees And melt again to reveal the chicken.
That
Shadows,
was a really
dark presence,
dead
dark
page.
shadows, darkness, shadows.
What
Dr.
was the
Raven, Dark
point of that
Talonblood.
page? What was it telling us? Shit's dark?
Foreshadowing,
Thanks.
Scar.
Figure that out.
That's how you do foreshadowing, right?
What? What was it foreshadowing? That there's going to be darkness up ahead? And areas where there's lots of trees?
Whoa, look how dark it is here, just like it said on the page. The page must have been talking about this particular dark spot of dirt.
Man, it's a good thing
Wow.
there's
Marksman's ass.
fluorescent white fog here.
So one of the questions you can start asking...
Donkey Kong? Did you just fail at Donkey Kong?
I may have lost a quarter there.
I like just a quick note for to get back to Chris. When I was playing this, admittedly, I played the section with someone else watching over my shoulder, and in that area, they were like, "Are you playing Mario now?" And then, like, I get to this area, and a barrel comes out in the hill, and I'm like, "Yep." Looks like. Your turn, Chris.
I'm seriously back here.
Well, one of the questions you could start asking is, Alan Wake supposedly wrote everything that's happening. Does that include the fact that these people were taken and turned into Taken for him to slaughter wholesale and by the hundreds?
Yeah.
Huh. You know, this raises an interesting question. Is Alan Wake a
stupid is
total
this guy?
dick, or is he a total dick?
The door opened slowly. Out of it came a small, very sick kitten. Alan stomped on it and kept walking.
Its head popped off, and out came orange-flavored soft-serve ice cream.
Make you more work for yourself, dude.
I really hope there's an explanation for why he couldn't write something happy.
It's implied that he had started the manuscript. Well, I won't get into
Yeah,
that
he
yet.
has to follow.
There's a reason.
He has to follow the. Yeah, he has to follow the rules set up by the narrative. He's actually said that, I think, already by now.
What? Oh, what the? So evidently that was a clip.
And that's why it's called Cliffhanger.
He said at the beginning of the episode, I think on that TV in the prison, in the jail, he says that characters have to be true to themselves and that, you know, the story has to follow its own logic. He actually can't just like, and then I found a flamethrower. He has to follow.
And then the army arrived and killed everything.
Yeah, although it does seem like he could probably, maybe he can't write, we're not sure what the rules are, but I think he could probably change one of those places where he wrote, and then there were 10 taken, and just, you know, go back and put some white out over the word 10 and put 2. And then maybe take a little bit of time off.
Maybe he's just really
Rush
obsessed with
the
writing
Walkmans.
action sequences. Because, yeah, I mean, he wrote this, and it doesn't make sense. Basically, he had to start with the manuscript he had, and there's reasons the manuscript started as a horror manuscript, and we'll get into that later, but
Yeah, we're
he
kind
had
of
to sort
giving
of
out
start with
too
what he had.
much here, I feel.
It is called spoiler warning. And especially in a game like this where it reveals layers of stuff that need to be analyzed, I think it's fine to just go ahead in the story. As long as we remember what we do and don't know at the time.
I mean, not to wander too far into meta commentary, but I agree with some of the commenters that we're really not providing a Let's Play that would be good for people interested in Alan Wake, because it really is about the mood and the setting, and we have completely ruined that with jokes and talking.
Right, but I mean, that's kind of part of the thing of this show. I mean, if you want to enjoy a horror game, do not watch a Let's Play of it. Like, Amnesia is crazy scary, but
Yeah.
it's not scary to watch. I mean, if you're trying to have an emotional connection with a game, then a Let's Play is probably the worst way to go about
Unless
that.
the person watching is screaming, and I'll be fair, I think we're the only people that uploaded a YouTube video of us where Instead of screaming, we decided to domesticate the monsters and have a party.
Right. Right. I would assume that anybody watching this is either decided, you know what, I don't want to play this game. I'm curious about it. I'm curious what you guys have to say about it. Or I have played it and I want to, you know, join the conversation with you guys on what you think of this game. That's what I think is the focus of our show. So, you know, giving you the proper experience of playing the game, I don't think we could give you that. And in fact, even going beyond survival horror, I think generally you can't give that in a Let's Play. A Let's Play is a terrible way to really get a feel for a game.
Right, I agree.
And that's why I think it's okay to sort of go into a lot of the story spoilers, if only because we're really providing a lot of analysis and discussion rather than saying, we're not your buddies in the room with you watching you play the game. We're doing commentary after the fact.
Shit.
Also, this is the chainsaw guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw that one come.
The end of Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, we win.
At least he wasn't spouting non sequiturs about chainsaws.
He needed combat taunts. That's what he needed.
Cans
Yeah,
will
that's
go
it.
into their designated bins.